This was one of the better Thanksgivings I've ever had. Part of the reason why it was so good was because we didn't focus on stuffing ourselves with unhealthy food, watching football, drinking, and falling asleep on the couch, but we still had plenty of really good food to feast on. And of course, there was our fair share of frolicking and lying in the grass and going outdoors and experiencing a little bit of nature. My name is Andrew Perlot, and my four roommates and I eat low-fat, raw vegan diets. When it came to planning our ultimate Thanksgiving, it started off with a little bit of outdoors time, earning the feast that we are going to have later in the day, and we did it in a fun way. We played volleyball. We biked over to Zilker Park, which is not too far from our house in Austin, Texas, and we found an empty court, climbed a fence, and started playing. And of course, afterwards, there was plenty of time to fool around in the sand and lie out in the grass, do flips, a little bit of gymnastics. It was a nice day for just soaking in some sun and working on some chaotic pursuits like my zero hand headstand, which if you just keep watching, you can see me fail at right now. Rumor has it that we were drawn into a game of Duck Duck Goose and freeze tag by a 9-year-old and some rather energetic 28-year-olds, but I won't even comment on that. Afterwards, we biked across the street to Barton Springs, where there is a fantastic trail, good for hiking and trail running and rock scrambling, finding some really cool areas. The ecosystem there is definitely unique to Texas. It's just a beautiful, dry area. Back at the house, we prepared a massive raw food meal for about 18, so only about 9 or 10 of us were actually raw foodists, and so most people didn't actually eat that much. This spread was only part of what we ended up making. Pretty much every roommate and a bunch of our guests ended up putting together some really good stuff. I ended up making my mildly famous persimmon date banana pie, which usually goes over really well with everyone, but this was the first time I'd ever attempted to serve 18 people, so I ended up making a huge one in a casserole dish. What are you eating, Astrum?
I'm eating your awesome pumpkin persimmon something something. That is so good.
It's persimmon pie.
Persimmon pie.
Made with lots of love from Andrew.
It's yummalicious.
And I'm eating noodles with a yummy savory sauce with sun-dried tomatoes and
those zucchini noodles, which were made as a combination between my roommate Danielle and Alicia, who is a professional raw chef, came out really well and just got decimated. Everyone went for that really quick. Our friend and guest, Christy, made a really delicious persimmon pudding, which was blended with dates. And if you haven't figured it out by now, yes, persimmon is pretty much the food of the fall that are coming off the trees. They're abundant, they're tasty, and who doesn't like eating persimmon mashed up in wonderfully gooey combinations? Pretty much everything that we made with persimmon in it went really quickly. My roommate Katie made a really nice tahini-based dressing to put on a big salad that we threw together, and that was also really popular and really tasty.
what's going on.
Our friend Melvin worked on a really interesting pecan pie, and he made two, but that was really tasty. And so the night went on, we ate and talked and laughed, and we generally just had a good time. We finished off the evening with some card games and laughing a lot at random stuff and just generally having a good time together. Everyone seemed to have a good time and no one dropped into a food coma after dinner. So what would your average non-raw foodist think about an 80-10-10 Thanksgiving? I asked Roland, one of our guests who is not a raw foodist, what he thought of the whole thing. What did you think of kind of the emphasis of the day? So it wasn't the standard American, let's stuff ourselves silly and then collapse on the couch and watch other people play football, but it was more like, let's go play for the whole day and then we'll come home and have a big feast.
It was great. I would do it again. Really enjoyed the games we played, and I'm pretty active as it is, so I was happy to be somewhere where people were moving and then I got extremely hungry. So when it was time to eat, I was ready.
And what did you think of the food? Because you've had a couple different experiences with having big meals of fruit, and then Thanksgiving, of course, was more of the complex foods, and more of the heavily prepared stuff, maybe a little bit more fat. How would you say that these different foods that you've been exposed to, different meals, how have they gone down for you? How do you feel afterwards?
Okay, so when we started the meal, I really enjoyed all the different flavors. Enjoyed all the fruit. The salad was interesting. There was a pasta made of zucchini, which I remember was, tasted like spaghetti, so I couldn't really tell the difference. And then the desserts. I think I overdid it on the desserts. So, a lot of sugar, probably more than I'm used to eat in a week. But, and then when we had the durian, that was for me a very confusing experience. Let's put it that way.
Uh-huh.
Because the smell was very off-putting, however the taste was great. And I did enjoy it, and I think I ate a little bit too much because shortly after I did experience a headache. And I don't know why, but I think it has something to do with the sugar and the fat, maybe.
If ever there was a day for feasting, even for raw food, it is Thanksgiving, and so you get more complex recipes with a little bit more fat, and you're going to be putting together dishes which don't necessarily lead to optimal digestion. And of course, durian is not necessarily something that you want to mix with other stuff in your stomach. Perhaps not the best introduction to the simplicity of low-fat raw vegan diets, but overall, a pretty awesome day.